shock, leader of Russia's Wagner died suddenly after sending mercenaries to defend Niger military. Wow. So it is no longer news that a, 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 a small jet crashed in Russia, and all 10 people in the jet died. And they said the manifest of passengers in that list showed that the Wagner PMC leader, Prigozhin, was also in that list. And after a few hours, it then emerged that Wagner Prigozhin is among the 10 people that died in that crash. Okay, and I know that both U.S. and some other countries, including the Wagner leader followers or the Wagners, are pointing fingers at Putin. And we understand that Putin used the Wagner to fight in Ukraine, and at a point, the Wagners turned around against him because of the amount of devastation that is done in Ukraine. And since then, there has been friction between the Wagner leader Prigozhin and President Putin of Russia. Okay, I think they've sought to kill this man for a long time. They've not been able to kill him, but it looks like they've succeeded because already accusing fingers are already pointing at Putin over this matter. But let's see what is happening here. In a tragic incident, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner group, has been officially confirmed as one of the casualties of the ill-fated jet crash, which all passengers on board lost their lives. Russia's Civil Aviation Authority has confirmed this unfortunate news, shedding light on the grim reality of the incident. The Wagner-linked telegraph channel Grey Zone, which has been closely following the event, reported that the Embraer aircraft met its tragic fate due to a suspected attack by air defenses in the Tiva region, located to the north of Moscow. The aircraft was en route from the capital city to St. Petersburg and was carrying a total of 7 passengers along with a crew consisting of 3 members. That's all 10 now. So Prigozhin, previously known for leading a failed mutiny against the Russian armed forces in the month of June, was aboard the aircraft, and the circumstances surrounding the crash had led to widespread speculation, with the Grey Zone's report indicating that witnesses in the area heard 2 distinct bangs before the plane went down. Okay, these witnesses also reported observing 2 vapor trails, okay, further suggesting the possibility of an airborne altercation. Okay, as per the details provided by the TASS news agency, the situation intensified as the jet crashed and subsequently caught fire upon impact with the ground. Disturbingly, reports suggest that as of now, the remains of 4 individuals have been recovered from the crash site. The aircraft had been airborne for less than 30 minutes before the tragic event unfolded, raising questions about the events that transpired shortly after takeoff. The incident has prompted a wave of grief and concern, okay, within Russia and beyond its borders. The unfortunate loss of lives and the presence of a high-profile figure like Yevgeny Prigozhin on the ill-fated flight have only intensified the public's interest in understanding the circumstances surrounding the crash. The Russian authorities are expected to conduct a thorough investigation to determine the exact cause of the crash and whether it was indeed brought down by air defenses as suggested. The aviation tragedy involving the Embraer jet has left a somber mark on Russia's aviation history, with Yevgeny Prigozhin's involvement adding a layer of complexity to the situation. The incident has garnered considerable attention and speculation. As investigators work to uncover the truth behind the devastating event, the world watches closely, hoping to gain insight into the sequence of events that led to the loss of all lives on board. Wow. So that is what is happening here. Okay. So it's confirmed now that the Wagner leader was among the 10, 7 passengers and 3 crew members, making all of them 10. Okay, and all the 10 have died. Like I said earlier, already both the Wagner followers and the US are already pointing finger on Putin because of the misunderstanding that have been between the Wagner leader and the Russia's military. It was recorded that in June, the Wagner leader led a kind of field attack on Putin, but so it didn't succeed. And since then, the Wagner leader has been under very serious spotlight by the Russian forces. So, and since then, it's been a rough way between the Russian forces and the Wagner. So now that the Wagner leader is involved in this craft, it's suspected that there was a kind of airborne fracas between the jet and some other defense aircraft in the air. That's looking more like it was shot down, but that was yet to be verified, and is still yet to be verified. Okay, so now Russian government want to go into very serious investigation, but in the midst of that process, the Wagner followers have called for the end of Moscow, meaning that there might be another internal war between the Wagner's military forces, private military company, and the Russian forces as well. And that might be a very deadly one if it ensued. Okay. The question people are asking is, now that the Wagner leader is dead, and meanwhile, the Wagner leader already deployed soldiers to Mali and to Nigerrepublic, okay, to support Niger military junta. How will all of this affect their mission in Africa? Because it looks like they have a very elaborate mission in Africa to help Africa break away from the influence of the West. So how will the death of Prigozhin affect this mission in Africa? It's a very big question to be answered, and we don't know how the death of this man will affect the whole process. Okay, but definitely this kind of situation, there's no room for vacuum. As the Prigozhin is dead, somebody must be next to him in rank, and that person will assume leadership effective immediately in order to keep the Wagner PCM or PMC going. Okay, and all their missions must not stop, all their research must not stop. It's just one person that died. Everything about the establishment is still on, and somebody is going to take over, of course. Even though the person taking over has not been known yet, but we know that somebody is obviously going to take over. So the big question is, how will Prigozhin's death affect the Wagner PMC's project in Africa? And that is supporting African nations to fight its battle against the West. Okay, and how will that also affect the Russian support for Africa going forward? So we need to know all of this, because this Wagner group is what Russia uses to do most of the foreign missions while maintaining and keeping their own local forces back in Russia. So I don't know how this will affect their mission in Africa, but obviously it's a big tragic event. It's a big blow on the Wagner. And how did he die? What led to the crash of that aircraft? Of course, they are swinging into investigation to unravel that. So thank you for listening. Let's have your comment.